Hello, 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 and thank you so much for joining me on my radio podcast. This is Deborah, the Judge, radio podcast all the way from Putnam County, Florida. Yes, Putnam County, Florida. Thank you guys for watching or listening from all around the world, from as far away as Japan, South Korea, New Guinea, the Republic of Congo, Kenya, South Africa, Malaysia, New Zealand, Australia, France, England, Spain, Portugal, Italy, United Kingdom, Greenland, Venezuela, Quito, Brazil, Tobago, and so many more. Indonesia, Taiwan, Vietnam, Honduras, Guatemala, and Mexico, Canada, and especially here at home. Thank you to all my Floridians. Shout out to you guys down in Tampa, Sarasota, Miami at the bottom. Yes, Jacksonville, Tallahassee, and so many, Palatka, Gainesville, and Orlando. So thank you guys out in Texas, Chicago, Chi-Town. Ooh, a shout out to you guys up there. There's a lot of stuff going on in Chi. But anyway, I want to come on for a short period just to give you a couple of points. For those who have not listened to this show before, this is not a news station. This is not a news station. However, what I do is look at daily news topics and talk about them and give you my opinion and perspective of my experience of what I think is really going on, as well as what is the word on the street, which is things that people want to say, but they don't go on social media to say it because of the cancel culture. And they don't want to lose their jobs. They don't want to lose their family. They don't want to make waves. They just don't want to get into a headache of trouble by making a comment about something. And then the cancel culture don't agree. And now they're in deep hot water. Nobody wants that stress. But I'm retired. I'm not working for anybody, so I have a different stance on what I believe and what I think is happening. So today, for those who didn't get a chance to listen to the Biden press conference, this was a press conference I tried my best to stay awake. In the midst of the tragedy of 12 of our servicemen who were killed at the Afghanistan airport. 12 were killed. And I'm just praying for those families of soldiers who were killed in the line of duty today. I am a prior service member, a Desert Storm veteran. So I understand the commitment that you have when you are in the military. And a lot of people don't understand that when you put that uniform on, you sort of feel as if you are responsible for making sure that America is safe. Okay? You have that ideology, and that's something that you learn with teamwork as your fellow military personnel that you're working with and that you work for. And so I sincerely feel sad in the instance that all of these 12 people have died, as well as for their families who are going to have to deal with this in their life. But I wanted to come on and talk about the press conference with Joe Biden. If this is not the worst damn president ever in life, I just can't, I don't know who was, okay? But this guy is just having a total meltdown. When the press was asking him questions about what's happening in Afghanistan, the fact that, there was no deaths over there since 2020. In other words, there was no deaths over there in 2020. And the bottom line was, now with the withdrawal of American forces in Afghanistan, does he feel responsible? So he comes out, and it made sense when he said, yes, I'm responsible. But then he takes a flip and then wants to go and talk about Donald J. Trump. See, this is what I'm saying about the responsibility of people and the responsibility of when you look at somebody like Biden, who just doesn't know sometimes what to say. And the best way to say it is to go back and try to hit back on Donald J. Trump. He really didn't know what to do with Afghanistan. Normally what would have happened is that everything that Donald Trump has done, the Democrats or Biden administration does just the opposite. So by Trump wanting to pull out of Afghanistan, and I'm going to tell you the reason why it made so much sense for him to do that. Usually what the liberals do and the Democrats, they want to stay. That's why, you haven't heard, for instance, Nancy Pelosi and these people, you haven't heard shit about them lately, have you? You ain't heard nothing about them doing a damn thing. Okay, they're just sitting back and they'll wait till the next election or whatever, and then they'll just pop up again. But when you listen to Biden and trying to answer some of those questions, he got very frustrated. He got very frustrated to the point where he just basically held his head down for about 15 seconds. Basically, he was saying to the reporters, look, I done told you the damn answer. You keep asking me the same damn shit over and over again. Are you fucking paying attention? That is actually what he wanted to say, okay? Had it been Trump would have said the same shit. Trump would have said, look, I'm not going to keep going over this shit with you. I done told you what the deal was, and this is what it is. But Biden got so frustrated that he held his head down on the fucking podium for about 15 seconds because he just couldn't get the idea that people could not get what he was saying. And they understood what he was saying, but by him being questioned again and getting put on the firing squad. See, he's never been on the firing squad. See, the CNN, etc., have always been nice with him, have always treated him right, have done everything. They've always put Trump on the firing spot. But see, this is the first time he's actually been where reporters are asking questions here and there. And he became so frustrated. And I'm saying, Lord, if this is any indication of how he's going to handle this military situation, we are deadly fucked. We are totally fucked. Now, he did come out and say that that America was going to come after the people that did this. Okay, basically what he said, we're going to come after you. We're going to find you. Okay, now, he said that. And we're going to see if this is going to be done. This is what I want to see. We're going to see, okay? Because even with Obama, when he said he was going to do something, fucking he did it. He found him in the bunker, Saddam Hussein, or Gaddafi, whatever his name was. Not Gaddafi. Saddam Hussein that was hiding in the bunker. Y'all know who I'm talking about. Underneath the ground, they found his ass. Okay? And the same thing with Trump. When Trump say shit, he mean it. And the interesting thing about it, and that's why you could tell the difference in how America is respected and how less they're respected now that Biden is in office. If Trump had been in office and they came over there with that fucking, with the airport killing people, let me tell you, Trump would have been on the news early. And he would have said, Americans, don't worry about it. I got this. That's all he would have said. I got this. And the next time you would have heard them Taliban's being blown up some damn where. See, that's how Trump be rolling. And of course, talking about the military families, etc., Trump would have talked about that as well and shown his condolence with them and support, because he's always been in support of the military families. Anytime that he's been speaking or at any of his conferences or rallies, he's always had the military families there. Biden has never done that because they try to play down the military. They try to play down the police officers. They try to play down the military at the end of the day. But Biden has gotten more chewed. He's chewed off more than he can chew. Okay. And fucking, what's her name? The vice president. This bitch is missing in action. I see her standing behind Biden sometimes on the press conference, but what the hell is she doing? What has he allocated her to do? When Trump was president, Pence was doing a lot of shit. He had Pence going here, doing this, doing that, making sure things was okay, put him in charge of different COVID stuff, all that. But with Kamala, that's her name, Kamala Harris, when it put her in charge, you don't hear shit about her. They had to beg the bitch to go down to the border, and when she went down to the border, she just skipped in and skipped out. It's like she's not even there. I don't know who's worse, Kamala Harris or Omarosa. Them two bitches right there, they need to be in the same plot together. Because ain't near one of them about shit. I'm just saying, got those damn positions and ain't doing shit with them, ain't doing no work, ain't handling no business, just there for the show. And that's all I'm going to say about them two hoes. They belong together. So anyway, I was looking at the fact that when Afghanistan and America started to team up to try to help their military to get them out of the situation with the Taliban, there's one thing that Trump seen very early on, and that is one of the reasons that he wanted to pull out. He realized that Afghanistan is broken down into tribes. And the tribes never fucking got along. It's just like in America. Usually in America, you just got what we call blacks and whites against each other, basically, okay? But they call it whites and people of color against each other, okay? But what if in America you had the blacks against the whites against the Spanish against the Puerto Ricans against the blacks against the Indians? This whole nation would be fucked up. But that's the way it is in Afghanistan. You got 12 tribes or more that are constantly fighting against each other. And this has been going on for decades. So Trump said, you know what? We're not going to fix this shit. So we're going to get the hell on out of there. And those that want to come and rise up can rise up with us and we'll move y'all out. Y'all need to go to another country, someplace else, because what's happening there is not going to change. But the Taliban basically says to Biden, fuck you. That's what they said when they shot and killed those 12 American soldiers. What they said was, President Biden, you ain't shit. Fuck you and the horseshoe road in on. If that had been President Trump, they wouldn't have came and did that shit. They would not have done that. Because they figure Trump is crazy as hell. Okay? And they figure Trump is a fucking gangster. So they wouldn't have pulled that shit on Trump. But you see, with Biden, anything can happen with America with Biden, because Biden is not going to sit up and he's not going to sit up and demand shit. He's just being passive aggressive. I hate passive aggressive motherfuckers anyway. But he's just being passive aggressive. And he was just so slow talking about, we gonna catch them, we gonna get them. I'm like, please, Lord, let me just try to stay awake through this, because this is a serious press conference, but it was very difficult for me to listen because he kept dragging on. I'm like, come on, get to the damn point. Get to the point, would you, Mr. President? I'm just saying. You know, I try to somewhat support him in some kind of way because he is the president, and I respect the office of the president, okay? So let me just say that I respect the office of the president, but I think that President Biden is the worst fucking president ever. And you guys are going to see what I see in a minute. So that's all I'm going to say about that. Like I said, praying for those families who lost their children, their sons, their husbands, their fathers, those 12. But this is where we're headed when America used to be a very powerful country. But now with Biden is in charge, who knows, him and Harris just don't know what's going to happen. So anyway, so let me just get to something a little bit different, because this has just been a really sad day in America when our military has just been basically torched them 12 military people. That's terrible, terrible, terrible. But I want to talk about Lucy, okay? Lucifer. I was reading chapter 11, Daniel chapter 11, and it just made me really realize about how this sexual perversion is carrying itself out and where it's going. And why is it that those people who are trans, basically trans, and when we talk about trans, there's trans women to men, but mostly we're talking about trans men to women. These people hate women. And when I say hate, I'm talking about desiring women. And that's what the book of Daniel talks about, Daniel 11. It talks about how that this fake God, or Lucy, how this entity comes here. Well, he's already here, but reveals himself. But he reveals himself in a way that it's a trans. Because when you look at the Baphomet and the signs of the Baphomet through the years, through the decades, through the centuries, you will see that it has woman breast, but is built like a man, and has like a male head or goat head or whatever, but it's symbolizing, the build is symbolizing a man. So it's like a figure of a trans. And you got to think about it when the Bible says that that trans entity would never have would not have a desire for a woman. So when you look at through history of the revelation of the Bible, and the Bible was written to this day, everything that they said is becoming true. That this entity who is going to be coming forth of the Antichrist is coming out of and is going to be exposed will not desire a woman. And who does not desire a woman? A trans man does not desire a woman. I'm not saying he hates a woman, but he doesn't desire a woman. His desire is for another man. So this perversion thing is getting so huge. Remember, there was LBGT, then they added the Q for queer, then they added the B for bestiality, and now they added the P for pedophilia. Everything about this system that we're in now, this trans system that we're in, has changed everything and mixed it with the normal, so that all of this entity mixed in with the normal is going to seem normal to our children. Because they're not going to know anything different, because what, like as I said yesterday, they're growing up in it. They're growing up in this bestiality life. They're growing up in men kissing and hugging, women kissing and hugging and loving out in the street. So when they see it, it's not going to be news to them. It only affects people who have had a history and knowing that there was a entity called a man that God created. There was an entity called a woman that man created. And what Lucy wants to do is to combine man and woman so there will be no fluidity. It would just be a person. That's why they want to get rid of the titles of these names. No he, no she, none of that. Just a person. Because why? Because they're getting ready for what is to come. And what is that? That is for the Antichrist to come. Plus, there's some other things that are coming as well. Now, I don't want to get into this, but you guys have heard about the planet Nairobi. I think it's called Nairobi. And I was listening and studying about this a few years back. And the understanding is that this particular planet that comes actually have some entities on the planet rather, that will be able to identify with humans. If you notice with the Pope, everybody that has that Pope position gets further and further and further away from the teachings of the Bible. If you notice with the Pope, that every Pope gets further and further away from the teachings of the Bible. And that is why, they sanctuated gay marriage. That's okay. Gay marriage is okay. And, you don't have to do this and you don't have to do that. You can still, you don't have to really believe that Jesus Christ is the way. No, you don't have to believe that Christ is the way through the Father, through the Son. No, you don't have. There's other ways to the Most High. So they've been teaching a lot of things that are contradicting what the Bible actually is. But why are they doing this? Because they know that there's an entity that's coming. They know that in this particular planet that's coming, Nairobi, that's coming, there's going to be a connection between the earth and this planet. And that's why I said that nothing new is happening up under the sun. Nothing new is happening. This particular planet that is surrounding, is on its way here, getting closer to the earth, has been here before. You got to ask yourself, wow, what's really going on? But we will never know what's really going on because we're so distracted. See, we're so concerned about, getting a degree. We're so concerned about getting a new cars. We're so concerned about our status in life and who we are and all these kind of things. And we're not spiritually connected. So we're missing everything that we need to learn about to know what's happening. But if we're distracted in those things, if we're distracted in what's happening here on earth as far as the wars are concerned, if we're distracted with all this pedophilia and bestiality, all of this stuff, we're just so distracted that the real teaching of historical and biblical times, we're not even studying that. And the ministers that are teaching are not, teaching any of this history about what is to come. It's not teaching about the Antichrist. It's not teaching about Lucifer. It's not teaching about the homosexuality and how the male and female characteristics are starting to dissipate to the point where men will begin to start looking like women. And men and women will begin to start looking like men. So in other words, the men will be dumbed down to be more feminine, and the women will be exaggerated more to be more like men. That's why you see women beginning to do more things that men used to do, and basically is being pushed by liberals or being pushed by the Antichrist folks who are saying, oh, women can just do everything. Women can do what men do, men can do what women do, etc., etc. There's a reason that women have a responsibility to do certain things like raising the family. That is biblical. But now you got women that go out to work and the man stays home and take care of the kids. You got to understand that is not biblical. That is not biblical. In other words, there are situations, of course, that we understand where somebody in the family was injured or the male was injured and the woman has to work, etc., etc. But at that point, the man is still in the head of the house. But now you got women that are in head of the house and has a man in the house. But it's all for a purpose. It's to get us ready for what is to come. Now, I hope that I don't be here when this shit hit the fan. Because I know that at the end of the day, every knee shall bow and every tongue shall confess that the Lord of hosts is the King of kings.
Saving starts with Xfinity. Get a great price on Xfinity Internet. Plus, ask how to get an eligible 5G phone on us. And for a limited time, $300 back when you add Xfinity Mobile. Go to Xfinity.com/start saving. Call 1-800-XFINITY or visit a store today. Restrictions apply.
Kings and the Lord of Lords. And whatever it is that the beast or Lucifer and his dominion and warlocks and witches, whatever it is that they planning, whatever it is that they're trying to continue to promote with all of this bestiality and pedophilia and lovers of men, this stuff is going to fall by the wayside heavily. And it's really sad because our children are lost. They're coming into a world where at 5 and 6 year old that they're being taught by drag queens of who they are. So they don't even have a damn clue because they don't know what normal is. They're too young. They don't have a history, so they don't know what that is. That is why you got to be very mindful of everything that you see around you now. Everything you got to see around, you got to be mindful of it. But one thing they can't change, they can do whatever they damn want to do. But one thing they can't change, they're not going to change what I would say the animals. Now, of course, we've seen that they have spliced animal DNA and male and man DNA to come up with some damn kind of creature that lived for 22 days and was killed. I don't know if it was a pig and a woman, but these two DNAs made some sort of creature. But this is what they want to develop because they want us to get used to seeing these types of abnormality. So whenever this, what I call planet, comes in contact with the world here, that the entities here will already be set up to ready for it. Put it like that. We'll already be ready for it. And so they won't be fighting against it. Because that entity that's coming is some sort of abnormality. Whether it's a trans type person or a trans body, animal, human, animal, versus, something to that effect. But the Bible talks about that. So if you get a chance, go read Daniel chapter 11. And it talks about the men will not have any desire for woman and the God that is coming. So you guys, it's just really a crazy situation. And sometimes when I think about it, I don't want to go way off to the deep end and just go from one thing to another. But just know this, that we're headed for a time where there is another entity that's coming from another planet, Nairobi. And sometimes you can see that planet in the sky. It looks like it's two suns. Two suns. That's what it looks like. And it's not the moon. And that's probably why a lot of people, if they look up and they see it, and they'll probably think, well, maybe that's the moon, and they don't think anything of it. And sometimes you can see these two planets. But you got to be mindful. You got to look. And what's sad about it is that all the nations know, all the scientists know, all the heads know that this is happening. And it's interesting because they don't talk about it. You would think that when you have another planet that's coming towards the earth, it ain't just circling Earth. It's coming towards the earth in a direct path. That this is something that the scientists and the presidents and all these people will want to talk about and try to figure out what's going on. See, a lot of people think that these ships that they're making that's going up into the shuttle, part of that, they're making that shuttle so that it could reach this other planet that's coming here to the Earth, that's reaching the Earth. And they'll have shuttles to be able to go back and forth, back and forth. This is just my thought process, and you can think however you need to think, but I think it's not what they tell us, it's what they don't tell us. And if they can dumb us down with music and TV shows and all kind of crazy shit, and not have us to look at what the word of the Lord says, what the Most High Elohim, Yahweh word is saying, then they think that they've got us covered. They think that they've got control of us. Because we'll only be used as what I call sheep. That's all they want us for, is for sheep. They want the children. That's who they really want, is the children. They want people for sheep to work or to be used for their own personal purposes. But anyway, that's my thought process. You guys have yours. If you have any thoughts or ideas, please post them. Email me or whatever. And just let you know what's going on and what I'm thinking. So, praying for those Army families. At the end of the day, you guys be great and read the word for yourself. Read about Nairobi. Read Daniel chapter 11. One love.
If you're struggling with alcohol or drugs, Recovery Centers of America can help. RCA's local inpatient and outpatient treatment programs are founded on science and delivered with heart. At RCA, they tailor your treatment to you and also offer specialized programs for patients experiencing a relapse or with history of trauma, for young adults, adults 50 plus, and the LGBTQIA plus community. Recovery Centers of America answers the phone and admits patients 24/7. Don't wait. Call 1-888-RECOVERY now. That's 1-888-RECOVERY. If you're struggling with alcohol or drugs, Recovery Centers of America can help. RCA's local inpatient and outpatient treatment programs are founded on science and delivered with heart. At RCA, they tailor your treatment to you and also offer specialized programs for patients experiencing a relapse or with history of trauma, for young adults, adults 50 plus, and the LGBTQIA plus community. Recovery Centers of America answers the phone and admits patients 24/7. Don't wait. Call 1-888-RECOVERY now. That's 1-888-RECOVERY.